All right, all right. Let's get it going. Spitter day. It's new spitter day, so you already know what we doing. You already know. Uh huh. Huh? Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Hotep History. With your host, with the most, President Hotep History.
Shit.
Representing Hotep History. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, what happened? Wow, what happened to this new spinner? So we gotta wheel it back. We got nah. Now we go.
Bitch.
Uh huh. Mm-hmm. Come on, y'all. Come on in here. We live, man. Uh huh. Uh. Uh huh.
Bitch.
Mm
Fuck. Nigga.
hmm. Mm hmm.
Dit.
Mm hmm.
Bitch.
Mm hmm. Yo, nah. He my man snapping. What? Spitter is here. Another one. Another one. Let's go.
Niggas.
Mm
Niggas. A-ball. Nigga.
hmm.
Niggas.
Mm.
Niggas. A-ball.
Yeah. He did it again. He did it again. The boy don't miss. So listen, 4 months in a row so far. I think he's going for the fifth. I'm hoping that he goes for the fifth. He's cooking on this. Yes, sir. Come on in here, man. Come on in here. Come on now.
Fucking.
hmm Yeah, man. Yes. Welcome to another episode of Hotep History Live. I am your host with the most, President Hotep Dudes, reporting live from Hotep Nation. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? What's the word? As my man Rashad says. How y'all doing out there tonight, man? I miss y'all, as I always do. I miss y'all as I always do. Yeah, before we get into the festivities, make sure that you're subscribing and following on all the things. All of the things up here. All of these right here, definitely. Patreon.com/Hotep History. We still have episode 6 up. Episode 7 will be this Saturday. So make sure that you're subscribing to the Patreon. A bunch of exclusive content coming. We have a nice long documentary on the beef between Reverend Joseph H. Jackson and Martin Luther King. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a Patreon exclusive. So you definitely want to tap into that. You definitely want to watch it. You definitely want to learn more about the civil rights movement, how it was integral to the Black American Church, and all of the different things and drama that went along with this story. You don't want to miss it. We just finished dropping the short little documentary about T. Thomas Fortune and his declaration of Negro independence politically. Very, very dope video. You don't want to miss that one either. You're going to learn a lot about the ancestors and how they voted, how they looked at things politically. And I'm watching Gilded Age, and I just found out that T. Thomas Fortune is in that show. So I am going to be giving you guys reviews of Gilded Age. It was recommended to me by so many people over a long while, and now I'm watching it. I'm on episode 4, and I went over the first 2 episodes already. I'll go over 3 and 4 in a minute. While I am watching the entire show and following the Russells and the Van Ryns and all of that, obviously I am more tapped in or more interested in Peggy Scott's story and how it's going to intersect with her father and her mom's, and now with T. Thomas Fortune. So I'm going to be continuing the thread that I started for Gilded Age. So just look out for that too. But yeah, also Kick. Make sure you're subscribing on Kick. Shout out to my people on Kick. You dig? YouTube, obviously. Shout out to YouTube people. Following me on Instagram and Twitter. Watching. We live on Twitter. So shout out to everybody watching me on Twitter. I don't know if I was thinking about going live on all of these platforms at once, but no, I'm going to keep it more concise than that. But as you know, at 9:30 we have the Patreon exclusive live stream, so you definitely want to tap into that because we're getting into Black American cinema, historic Black American cinema. So we're going to be starting from the more than likely like the late 19th century going into the early 20th century. We're going to be covering a lot of filmmakers, producers, cameramen, actors, actresses. We're going to be going super deep, and we might be even watching a couple black films from back then. So you definitely want to make sure that you're subscribing to the Patreon to be a part of that conversation and learn about the ancestral Black American film industry. It's super dope. It's packed with a whole bunch of information that I'm more than sure that you've never heard of, and you don't want to miss it. So make sure that you're tapping into the Patreon and just following me on all of the things. So that's up top. Got to make sure we're doing the housekeeping and all of that. But other than that, yo, how have y'all been? We got the what we got? What I was gonna say? I don't even know what I was about to say. Oh yeah, who we got in the chat? That's who he was. So we got Crystal in the chat. Shout out to Crystal. Who else is round? Where y'all watching from? Let me know. Where y'all watching from? Y'all watching on Kick? Y'all watching on YouTube? Oh, we hit 100 followers on Kick. So shout out to the Kick followers, man. Okay. My man Cliff and Kick, he say he can't hear me. Y'all can't hear me? Let me know. We gotta get to the technical difficulties off the dribble, off the rip. Let me know if you can hear me. Mic check. Let me know if I'm audible. Let me know if I'm being heard. It's important. Can y'all hear me? Yo. All right, cool. I can be heard. Good. Just want to make sure. So, how were you guys' day, man? How'd you fare so far this week? You know what I'm saying? How you feeling? What are your plans? Are you getting it done? Are you meeting those goals that we talk about? Are you hitting those benchmarks? All right. I know I have been. I'm not gonna lie, man. It has been just a very long week of just getting work done. And when you are in love with the work, I think you go much farther. A lot of people, as you know, are very, very married to the result. And one of the things that I've noticed about being married to the result is that you don't, first of all, you largely don't get there. That's one. A lot of people just don't. But then you also miss out on all of the things you could possibly learn on your way there. Like, The difference between somebody giving you $100,000 and then you actually stacking your bread or working to make sure, you feel me, that you're going to get that $100,000. Like, so I think that when it comes down to the journey, a lot of people sidestep or want to sidestep the journey. And I feel like you're doing yourself a major disservice. I think that you are pretty much forfeiting so much of your life. You're forfeiting it. You're forfeiting the ability to learn your limits. You're forfeiting your ability to learn about the things that you can actually do in heats of different moments and different environments and around different people, places, and all of these different things. Like, you get to learn so much about yourself during the journey that I feel like you really missed the opportunity of actually knowing yourself. And people in the Hotep spaces, or the conscious spaces, we talk a lot about knowledge of self. Knowledge of self is going to be the most important level of knowledge that you could possibly have. And yes, that is above reading and writing. And the reason I say that is because of my study of the ancestors. There were plenty of ancestors who did not know how to read or write, but they owned businesses. Plenty of ancestors that did not know how to read or write, but they built entire towns. So it's like, when it comes down to knowledge, the most important thing you need to be smart about is yourself. And the only way that you're going to be able to be knowledgeable or smart about yourself is that if you actually do things that are going to show you who you are. Put yourself in positions that are going to actually show you what you're made of. And then have those experiences mold you into the person that you actually want to be, based upon your interface with those experiences. All of the things that you did, your actions, your thoughts, all of those things that you did, those are going to be the ingredients to what and who you are. So please embrace the journey, embrace the work, love the journey, love the work. We looked at the How to Succeed book by Rosetta, what was her name, Dungan or something like that. Oh, Dunnigan, excuse me, Dunnigan. And she was just talking about being able to withstand turmoil, being able to withstand bad things happening to you, misfortune, as she phrased it. So we got a huge super chat from who they say, excited for the Patreon exclusive tonight. For sure. If you're not tapped into the Patreon, you missing out on a lot, G. You missing out on a lot. I'm gonna always cover history for you guys for the free, but we get to it on the Patreon. So I really, really, really advise you guys to come on over. You dig? Because we have a great time. The chat is always lit. The content that we uncover is always lit. And I want to say that, I want to speak on that. That's one of the things that I really, really love about the Patreon live streams, is because we go into the archives and just start finding stuff. A lot of the stuff that we talk about on the Patreon, it don't even be stuff that's preloaded. It be stuff that we like in real time or uncovering. I'm shocked every time I do a live stream. I don't go in, like, I have certain materials that I have that I want to make sure that I have, just as a way to know that I got something to say. But largely, we just be digging through the archives, yo. We be reading a whole bunch of fly stuff. We have great conversations surrounding it. I mean, the last time we told ghost stories, I told ghost stories. You know what I'm saying? Like, the last live stream, we were literally reading ghost stories, fam. Like, we have a great time. So I really want you guys to tap into the Patreon. It's right there on my pin tweet. Go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon, because we legitimately be having fun in there. Like, who else is live streaming and telling ghost stories by Black American authors? Like, that is so fire. Like that, like, I am not gonna lie. Like, that was super fun. And we're gonna be doing things like that just all throughout the year, man. Like, I have a whole new list of topics that you guys are gonna be able to vote on Patreon. Like, yeah, we got a lot of stuff. Just for a sneak preview, we got Black American economics, Black American institutions, Black American genius, Black American militancy, Black American toys and games. Like, yo, dog, we are going to get to it over the next several months. So you definitely want to be a part of the community. It's growing every day. Shout out to all of the people that subscribe to the Patreon. Shout out to all the people that upgraded their tiers and stuff like that. Because we have Black American historical tiers. So we have the Booker T. Washington tier, and we have the Carter G. Woodson tier. So you definitely want to get in on those to be able to, like I said, be a part of the conversation. Because if you love the stuff that I be talking about on here, you're definitely gonna love the things that I talk about on Patreon. And not to mention, it should be a whole bunch of videos and stuff on the Patreon that you will literally more than likely never read about anywhere else, because I'll be pulling from them same places that we be uncovering stuff. So yeah, you definitely want to come on through. So I think that's a good enough commercial for the Patreon. So yeah, we got a lot to get to tonight. So let's jump into it. Let's go on over to the bookmarks. You know how I do. We got the bookmarks. So first up, some good news. We're gonna start with some good news. Let's go to the Hotep History Live tab. It's way better that way. It's more concise. We got some good news. Mackenzie Scott. Okay. Mackenzie Scott just awarded Morgan State University a $63 million gift, the largest in the school's history. Shout out to Mackenzie Scott. Okay. If you don't know who Mackenzie Scott is, she is the former wife of Jeff Bezos of Amazon fame. So shout out to Mackenzie Scott giving that sizable donation to an HBCU. I'm more than sure Morgan State could have used it, and they are going to use it for the betterment of the institution. And it's funny because I was having this conversation with my brother Rashad. Shout out to my brother Rashad, man. All of the good people over there at the Things of That Nature podcast and platform rather. And I was on his space and we were talking about HBCUs versus PWIs and the importance of them and all of these things. And one of the things that we were talking about was the endowments of these HBCUs and how important it is for the graduates, the alumni, to be able to always continuously give back. Now, shout out to my brother Rashad. He actually gives back to 2 HBCUs endowments. So shout out to him for being the change that he wants to see for sure. And I truly believe, based upon the historical record as far as Black American higher educational institutions, is like when it comes down to the ancestors, that was going to be right after church. Like as far as institutions go, first you're going to have a bunch of churches. That's going to be the moral center, the hub of Black American life, okay, within a town. And then right after that, you're going to see the construction of your Morgans or of your industrial schools or your normal schools, et cetera, because right next to God, the ancestors valued education. And they understood how important education was to make it in the United States of America and being viable American citizens out here. So that is the reason why you'll see so much emphasis on education all the way in the late 19th century, obviously right after the emancipation of our ancestors, and of course going into the 20th century, where you're going to see all of these different higher education or educational institutions specifically created for the proliferation of Black American minds. And then if you look at something that I just posted, I didn't even think about it like this until it just happened. But if you go to this tweet right here that I was talking about the advertisement for the Nightingale School for Nursing in Miami. Now this article is from 1950, and if you look at it, you can be a practical nurse, learn to do by doing in a well-equipped school All instructions by registered nurses, uniform, cap, text, notebook, notes, thermometer, and it's all furnished by the school. Courses constantly being made better and better. So they're improving on the curriculum. Day or evening classes, and then they give you your rates. So 3 classes weekly, over 4 months, $10 down, and then $7.50 a week. Or you can do 2 classes weekly for 6 months with $10 down for $5 a week. So whatever your budget was going to be able to afford. And yeah. So one of the things that I appreciate, and I said this in the caption, is about the learn to do by doing. This is something that you're going to see all throughout a lot of the Black American educational institutions, and we are going to have an entire topic or entire episode solely dedicated to Black American educational institutions for sure. But let's see, you'll see this, you'll see it come up a lot, is what I'm saying. And let me search for it in the back real quick. But yeah, when it comes down to learning by doing, that was something again that the ancestors emphasized, based upon the fact that you're going to be able to learn more efficiently and effectively if you actually have hands-on training. Hands-on training is going to give you the most. As a matter of fact, I may be able to search my own tweets about it, because I'm a yapper and I'm more than sure that I talked about it. So that's the Nightingale School for Nursing. But if we go here, I want to say, I think I tweeted about it. If I didn't, I'll be able to find it. But I know that that I read about it, and I'm like 90% sure that yep, I knew it. I knew it. Here we go. Vocational and industrial education being replaced by liberal arts and humanities was one of the worst decisions Black Americans made in the 20th century. I'll be going. It turned a generation of self-sufficient producers into a generation of dependent consumers. Hampton Institute, 1900. Now, this is from a brochure or a pamphlet made by Hampton Institute. Okay, this is before it was Hampton University, and they were showcasing the same things. So take a gander at this stuff while I look at the actual text that it came from, because I think it bears showing you guys. There we go, found it. Just that quick. Wasn't even that hard. All right. 1 second, y'all. Just getting it. Yep, getting it loaded. All right. So let me show y'all. It's from this book right here. It's from this book right here. So while that's loading up, we'll go through the pictures. But yeah, so this is a house built and finished by Hampton students. Students. These are the students doing this. They're not graduates just yet. Okay. You have class in plastering. And this is how they're learning about plastering. Just actually plastering a wall. You dig? Is it loaded yet? Yep, here we go. So yeah, this is the cover of the book, Learning by Doing. You see the parallels in which I be talking about? Like, there's always going to be a through line for Black American advancement. There's going to be an overall consensus that we're all, for the most part, operating off of. And that's the reason why I go so hard about the ancestors, because they knew what they were talking about. It's so much better and so much, more effective to be able to teach these kids how to build a home by just making them build a home. Like, just do that. If you want to learn how to build a home, build a home. Look, a class in Brick Lane. Look at that. Teaching them how to lay bricks. So if you go into the book, we can zoom in here. Look at this. This is what you would call black excellence. This is in 1900. It says the ancient town of Hampton, Virginia, with its immediate environs, is also, almost a microcosm of American history and life. Its old church goes back to the beginnings of colonization, and the locality has had its part in every successive scene of the national drama. Today, it is Congerges is congeries? Yeah. Okay, today is a congeries of more or less distinct little communities. Such, for example, is the military community that occupies the famous Fort Monroe. Another is the ever-shifting community that moves across the decks of the numerous coastwise steamers and the plazas of the famous hotels that crowd together along the Old Point Comfort wharves. Sorry, the letters are super small. But I was trying to see if they were gonna be talking about it. But I was trying to let's see. The seventh community is known for this word. Blah blah blah. Okay, I think this is a little bit more on the nose about the school. That's what I was looking for. This seventh community is known to the world as the Hampton Normal and Agricultural Institute. It is, of course, in one sense, a school, but the word in its common meaning does not go far enough, for the Hampton Institute is a settlement or community of people who are trying to work out not intellectual progress alone, but all phases of that most practical of questions, namely how plain boys and girls and men and women, under the conditions now existing in our country, can make their own lives useful and successful and can help others to do the same. So yeah, we're here to make them smarter, but they also have to be viable. This is exactly what I was talking about. Better than at almost any other place in this country, they have at Hampton grasped the conception of what we may call integral education. Someday, the people of this country, including the wise ones and the prudent, and some of the educational leaders, will more or less suddenly wake up to the realization of a very curious fact. This fact is that, by all odds, the finest, soundest, and most effective educational methods in use in the United States are to be found in certain schools for Negroes and Indians, and others for young criminals in reformatory prisons. If I paid $10,000 a year for it, I could not possibly give my own small boy anywhere in or about New York City the advantages of as good a school as the raggediest little Negro child of Phoebus, Virginia, freely enjoys, whose education is under the care of the Hampton Institute and is carried on under the Institute's normal department in the John G. Whittier School. Oh, so they basically saying that, yo, there's people up north who's paying wild bread and they still not getting the same type of education that we getting down here. Because what they're saying is, which I really didn't even realize, is that they're taking responsibility for not only the institution but the surrounding area. Like, this is an entire community. So while we have the institute, we also have an elementary school. We also have, institutions for the babies. That's very dope. So yeah. This is a class in dressmaking in the domestic science building. Okay. Then you have a corner of the tailor shop. Let's zoom in and make sure y'all can get a good look at these pictures. Okay. But yeah, look at this. It's super dope. Bunch of just productive black students getting to it. By the time these people would graduate, they will be masters in it. Look, you got kindergarten classes here, washing and ironing, gymnastics class. They're showing an old time cabin versus a graduate's home. Hold on, we got more pictures. Hold on, we got to zoom up. Scroll up. Let's go back. So we got sewing class at the elementary school, teaching the babies how to sew. You got an old time barn and a model barn with a small silo. This was built by the ancestors. So they're showing you that this was published in 1900. So they're showing you, yeah, previously there was going to be more crude structures and stuff like that because you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. But then as we progress and become more knowledgeable and more hands-on with our learning, this is what we're able to turn out. All right. Same thing with the cabin. You start with this, end with this. Now you got a two floor crib, beautiful, beautiful front yard, absolutely amazing living conditions based upon your work, coming from your hands. Nobody else came and made this and built this house. They did. Here we go. The old folks at home, and then an educated family at dinner in a house that black men built. This is amazing stuff here. What else we got? We got the harness shop. Okay, student engineers at one of the mill engines at the sawmill. Did I skip pictures again? Yeah, I did. A class in American history. They got the Indian, they got the Native American in there. We saw the class in plastering, and then of course a house built and finished by Hampton students. We saw those. What else we got here? The brake lane, we saw that. The printing office, school laundry, turning lathes. I don't even know what that is. At the turning lathes, is that the tables? Or it's probably these little machines. Okay. A class in agriculture. And you tell me now. Look, judging horses, the science and art of drainage, class studying roots, mixing fertilizers. Dog, this is amazing stuff here. Experimenting with plants and soils. And I want to ask you guys, as we're going through this book, how many of these skills are unimportant in 2025? This book was written 125 years ago. This book was written 125 years ago. Tell me what any of these mechanisms or skills are unimportant. Tell me where agriculture and home economics is not a viable thing when people are literally making millions of dollars off of catering and restaurants and all different types of culinary arts. Blacksmithing, shoe shop, like cotton spinning and what does I say, bug weaving. Cheese making. Sampling milk, emergency lesson in physiology class. Like, look at the curriculum. Cooking class studying meats. Physics class making and repairing telephones. Like, and then we have an English class studying in library. So again, like when we start talking about the ancestors, man, like y'all gotta understand the type of reverence that I have based upon the things that they left for us. Yeah, I understand that there are going to be other professions and skills that we should, emphasize. You need your doctors, you need your lawyers, you need your financiers, you need all of these different people, but dog, where are you going to live? What are you going to eat? What are you going to wear? Like, what about the technology that you need to use? You dig what I'm saying? Like, who's going to take care of you if you get sick? Like, there's so many different things that the Black American ancestrals or ancestral class, right? They understood the importance of all of these things, not at the expense of other professions, but in conjunction with them. Like we read that with Giles B. Jackson. Like, yo, son, like when it comes down to this stuff is like 100% a necessity. How much money is being made in real estate today? Like, come on. Like when it comes down to this stuff, like imagine a large, percentage of the black American population. And I'm talking about, like, when I say large, I mean 10, 15, 20% of the black American population being able to, build homes. It's millions of people being able to not only build their own homes, but also offer their services for a profit. Like it just made sense to the ancestors. It's like, yo, where are we gonna live? What are we gonna eat? How are we gonna, get there? Or, all of these different things. You have to cover the basics. And that's the reason why I said leaving this and only focusing on, humanities or liberal arts and stuff like that, that would create, your teachers and your lawyers and all of that other stuff was a huge mistake. It was. Because all the lawyers in the world are not going to get you a house. You need somebody who knows how to build one. So, yes, it turned a generation of self-sufficient producers into a generation of dependent consumers, especially if that consumer is making above average income like a doctor or a lawyer would. So while you are I absolutely, bringing a particular service to the community, you're not doing anything negative. However, if more of the community are people who are just like you are going to be at the behest of people who do that work. And so instead of you being at the behest of somebody who looks just like you, who's going to always, or more than likely, okay, do square business with you and look out for you and develop these economic and business relationships with, you've now outsourced this work to people that don't look like you and who are going to be able to set the price however they so choose. And you're not a part of that equation anymore, outside of you consuming it, outside of you buying it. So I just think that one of the major fixes that Black America needs is to get back to the vocational and industrial education to make us more self-sufficient in the 21st century context, of course. And that's the reason why I go so hard telling the kids about tech certs and going into STEM and stuff like that, and going into the trades, because that's going to be the 21st century equivalent of what we're seeing here. So shout out to Mackenzie Scott for doing that. And then there was something else here. There was something else. Let's go back here. Yeah, we had this guy. Now I don't know if I'm going to. Oh yeah, it's only 2 minutes long. It's cool. We can.
Every
Look
day,
at this.
what the fuck are we doing on this earth, man? Every day, most of us wake up and go to a job that we really don't fucking like, but we can't really quit because we got to get the money to pay the bills that they say it's important to pay. What the fuck is the point of this life, man? We go to grocery stores and buy food that God gave us for free. Why the fuck did we pay for lights? Well, that's just the way it is. Fuck you. I'm tired of all this "that's just the way it is" bullshit. This whole fucking system is garbage. America ain't nothing but a big ass fucking plantation, man. A big ass fucking plantation. What the fuck are we doing here? There are days I don't want to be on this earth. And I'm not saying I want to unalive myself and nothing like that. But I'm tired, man. It's like, what the fuck is the point of any of this? To work till we 60, 70 years old? Most of us ain't gonna fucking live to see 50. But we gotta work to maybe retire. Man, fuck you and all that bullshit, man. I don't give a fuck about who president, left, right, and all this dumbass shit. I'm tired of this whole fucking game, man. It's a big ass game. It's a big ass charade. America is a fucking plantation. I don't give a fuck what nobody got to say about it, man. This shit is exhausting. Like, I don't even want to look for another job. I'm gonna walk in there, they gonna ask me, why do you even want this job? Bitch, because I need some fucking money to pay the bills that they tell me it's important to pay. Get the fuck out of here, man.
All right. Before I give my commentary on this, let's check the chat. Cliff says nice. I knew Cliff would dig it. He says HBCU college town development would thrive if we learn to manage them and benefit from them better. Yeah, absolutely, man. I do think that being able to double down on our HBCUs, have them become completely black owned, if possible, and then being able to again just double down on the proliferation of it through funding and attendance. I think that the growing, around it, just like how Hampton had it, it's a whole community around it, and you'll see that with modern day universities and colleges today. Like, when I used to go door to door, there's a town in Pennsylvania that's just Penn. I want to say it's Penn, Pennsylvania, or something like that. No, college something. It's like State College. I think it's like State College, Pennsylvania, something like that. And when you go to State College, it's just UPenn. Like, that's it. That's the whole town. And teachers live there, alumni live there. Like, it's an entire town. You feel me? So that's not that's not an impossible thing to do at all. So I definitely encourage that for HBCUs, for sure. Memphis says he thinks life is supposed to be free. Idiot. So yeah. So this guy here, right? This is a very, very common complaint, right? And at the heart of it, to be totally honest with you, at the heart of it, it's the lack of purpose. It's honestly the lack of purpose. You feel me? And when it comes down to Memphis says, or Apex. Yeah. Get your Apex, man. You know what I'm saying? Stop rocking with them vegetable oil coats, man. So get you some good supplements. I keep forgetting to put the QR code up. I'm gonna make sure I do it this week. You feel me? But when it comes down to this, yo, you gotta have purpose in life. You gotta actually have a particular life goal or life map for yourself. And a lot of people don't take advantage of actually being a human. You know how, like, when people get iPhones and they don't really look at all of the features and benefits that the phone really brings, and sometimes it takes like a tweet to show them like, oh, you can do this with your phone and shit like that. That's how people treat life. People don't actually take advantage of life. You feel me? They don't actually, realize what they're actually able to do while they're alive. And what they do is they get tricked or trick themselves into this mundane lifestyle to where you're just pretty much twiddling your thumbs until you die. You know what I'm saying? You just going around the carousel, the merry-go-round and all that other stuff for 70 years, and that's just that. And it's largely from the history of America. Like, when you're talking about like the mid 20th century, like your 1940s, 50s, and 60s and shit like that, what you saw a lot of was people working for a plant, moving up to management, moving up to executive management or whatever, and then they, after working for 65 years, they get a fucking gold watch, thank you for your service, and then they fucking, go on to die in the next, 5 to 15 years or whatever. And that's been one of the, like, mainstream prescriptions of what the American dream was. Now, what they don't tell you about that is, like, yeah, that was the life, right? But in that life that you lived, you had a family, you had a wife and children. You had a wife, and children that you loved dearly, that you spent time with, that you were able to love on and be loved on. You had family. You know what I'm saying? You had friends. You went and experienced life. You went on vacation. You went for long walks. You were able to, write things down or publish things. You were able to explore different parts of your creativity. You were able to, expand your mind in different ways outside of the work that you did your entire life. And that's what made life worth living, is all of the other intangible things. You feel me? And Now more than ever, we have the opportunities to be able to do those things. We have literal apps that are dedicated to expanding your mind. There are so many different programs, activities, places that you can go, events that you can attend that are going to be able to bring you that life's experience. But so many people have fallen for tricking themselves that you first of all need to do a particular thing to make that happen that's prescribed to you by the mainstream. There are a whole bunch of people who are doing things that are not really on the beaten path, but are popular enough to show its results. So again, when we start talking about all of the different, fields that are going to yield the most money for you to be able to afford some of these things, or to at least give you that financial breathing room that you need, it takes hard work to achieve those degrees. It's not something that you can just, fall into. You dig what I'm saying? When you're talking about your STEM, when you're talking about medicine, you're talking about law, you're talking about finance. When you start talking about all of these high earning degrees, you have to be very deliberate and intentional with how you pursue that, if you actually want to, make it. So again, when I was talking about the journey, right? The journey is being able to study, is being able to pass the exam, is to be able to get hands-on training, is to be able to gain all of that knowledge. So by the time you're at a particular age, let's just say you start at 18, being deliberate. By the time you're 24, you graduate with either your certificates or whatever you need, or your degree, and be able to use that degree to be able to get you gainfully employed out the gate. Okay, so whether that's trades, whether that's STEM, whether that's a high earning degree, you'll be able to start at the bottom level or wherever you're at and be able to work yourselves up. You're still in your early 20s. And yes, all of these things are going to be time extensive or intensive. They're going to be things that you're going to have to dedicate your life to as in the pursuit of those things. But the reward for all of that intention is the financial freedom that you get, is the ascension up to, the ascension in any industry that you choose to be in, this high earning industry. And then with that money, be able to live life with it. With that, be able to build a family, be able to build community around, you and the people that think like you, move like you, or appreciate you for who you are, and vice versa. And then use all of the things that you've been able to work from 18 to now to enjoy the fruits of your labor. What you see here in this video is somebody who has been pretty much doing run-of-the-mill work and getting run-of-the-mill results. And while that run-of-the-mill work is exhausting, which makes it even worse, honestly, because if you're going to exhaust yourself, you definitely will want to exhaust yourself in something that's going to be fruitful in your life. But even if you chose to do what he's doing, even if you chose to be middle management at a Walmart somewhere, you still have the ability to live the life that you want to live. If it's all about purpose and fulfillment, you can have purpose and fulfillment at whatever income level. But many people want to earn a lot to be able to do a lot, which is totally fine. So if you want to earn a lot to do a lot, you got to do a lot to earn a lot. That's just what it is. So I truly believe that people who lack purpose, people who don't know what they want to do with themselves or with their lives, they're suffering the most. Because things are getting more expensive, okay? Things are getting tougher and tougher. And not to sound fucking crazy and shit like that, but like, you do have to fortify your life against that. I understand that the government is corrupt. I understand that gas is the prices it is and all of that stuff. The only thing that you can do is either go attack your local government and really go hard at being able to hold these people to the fire, and or fortify your personal life to make sure that that doesn't negatively affect you and how you're going to live your life. Those are your two options. But what you can't do is get to a particular age, realize what you've done or haven't done with your life, and then record a video in your car super frustrated. Now, I understand that wages have not gone up with the price of things, and I understand all of that stuff. It's not something that I'm ignorant to. But again, if you actually want to win, if you actually want to have your life be the result of good choices being made and then of course good results being had, like you have to work for it. So even in the 50s and shit like that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they still had to work for it. So while it would have been like looked at as mundane work or whatever, they still had to get up and go to that factory job. They still had to get up and throw the trash out. They still had to get up and jackhammer the street. Like that's something that they still had to do to be able to enjoy whatever they got. So the best thing for you to do is just be more intentional about what you want your tomorrow to look like today. And that's just what it is. Memphis says, when things get more expensive, make more money. Ball up top. Don't cry about it. Don't cry about it. Be about it like the ancestors. That's a fact. That's a fact. So it's important. And it kind of brings me to the next thing that we were going to be covering. So let's go back to the page. I just want that to be already loaded up when we end this. But yeah, so I looked through. Oh no, we're not gonna go to that one first because that one was a little crazy. I looked through the archives for keywords, the Negro must, because I already knew that it was going to be a bunch of prescriptions that the ancestors put in the paper, and there were thousands of results, obviously, because Black America cared about Black America. And back then the ancestors didn't look at being held accountable by another Black person as something that was besmirching to a Black person, or dare I say anti-Black. Holding, your own people accountable in your own publications wasn't deemed, off code or anti-Black. So you saw Black Americans freely doing that. So here we go. What the Negro needs. It says the Negro must support his race enterprises. Let him defend his own. Let's zoom on in here. Let's read. 42 years as freeman in a Bible country. Oh man, the bending. Earned by the constitutional law, a country filled with schools, colleges and churches, in a country. Oh, this is going to bug the hell out of me. I didn't even see this. In the country of education, refinement, something in prosperity, has placed at the Negro of today obligations great. Oh man, this is pissing me off. This is pissing me off. I don't like this. The Negro of today will not. Yeah, I can't read this. This is too much is missing from this. Yeah, and it goes all the way down, Jack. Oh, this is whack. All right, so let's try on the next column and see what we can extrapolate from it, because we can't get the first few paragraphs. But let's see. It ends with what? I'm pretty sure there was some good stuff down here too. Nigga was based upon as an object of pity. Today he is called into account for his every deed and act, and no more can he nor dare he expect to find someone to be present to plead mercy for him, but he must stand alone and of himself. Okay. In times past and never to return, the master was held liable for the acts of the Negro, his slave. But today the Negro must himself account for his deeds and is critically judged by his acts. He is the looking glass through which the world views him. It may seem hard and rash to say that in this view the Negro must not do things toward him, or toward himself or toward each other, that he would not have other nations do to him or his race. In other words, we are face to face with the biblical injunction: do unto your neighbor as you would your neighbor do unto you. For these we cannot back out, crawl out, squeeze out, freeze out, smoke out, or talk out, but meet it face to face like men. If the Negro would have others to keep the door of hope open to the race, let him do so. If the Negro would see race prejudice abolished, let him do anything let him not do anything to sustain it. If the Negro would have their women greater respected by others, let him show the greater respect. If the Negro would have all discrimination on account of race or color banished, let him not discriminate himself. If the Negro would have all men given equal opportunities, let him not withhold opportunities for any. If the Negro would have his boy or his girl given the same chance in life with other boys and girls, let him deny none. Then again, the Negro must look to the stripe and degree of sincerity of those who essay to their leaders, whether self-made or duly crowned. No Negro is worthy of the proud title of leader in, jeez, oh my goodness, in ranks of so noble people whose daily interest in the welfare of the race is unquestioned by his manifestation in their belief. It's an old but true saying, quote, you can tell the tree by the fruits it bears. And if the fruit is not good, neither is the tree, and is ought to be cut down. In this year of the educated Negro who has an interest in his race and shows it, there is no need for the race to listen to the selfish pleas of those who use the race only for selfish motives. Let the Negro do all in his power to help sustain Negro enterprises, professional and businessmen on every occasion. Patronize the Negro doctors, lawyers, carpenters, stonemasons, brick masons, etc., etc. Patronize Negro grocery stores, drugstores, and businesses conducted by members of the race. Subscribe, pay for, and read Negro newspapers, magazines, books, and periodicals. When the race learns the importance of the, what is this word? Strengthening? Oh, when the importance of these things. Okay, yeah, when the race learns the importance of these things and the great importance of helping each other, then will the real progress of the Negro begin. So, yeah, that's 1905. 1905 this was said. 1905. What we got here? So this is the broad axe, famous Booker T. Washington haters. And we're all on the left column here. Okay. Hold on. I'm being selfish. I'm sorry. I forgot that y'all can't read that small. So hopefully y'all can read it along now with me. We go one more. Of the Past and the Future of the American Negro by D.W. Culp, A.M. MD. What's that, 15? Mob and Lynch Law. In the last issue of the Broad Axe, we gave a short sketch of the origin of mob and lynch law, and at the same time, we asserted that the great majority of its victims belong to the Negro race, which we greatly deplore. But there is not the least doubt in our mind that if all members of our race throughout the country will only follow the advice which we will endeavor to impart to them, they will be in a far better position to defend themselves against the attacks of all those who are in favor of mob and lynch law. Okay. In the first place, the Negro must obey all the laws of the land, even if some of the laws have been enacted for special purpose of retarding his progress. Second, the Negro must absolutely refrain from drinking cheap whiskey, from gambling, and from spending his hard-earned money in a reckless manner. He must not assume that it is no worse for him to drink poor whiskey and to gamble than it is for a white person. While it may not be any worse, if the white man is desirous of wallowing in the mire and filth and disgracing his family, that is his prerogative to do so. But the Negro must entertain higher and loftier ideas. Third, the Negro must endeavor to be honest and straightforward in all his business transactions, and he must convince all of the members of the opposite race that he is perfectly willing to adjust all of his honest obligations, and if his white brother really believes that it is to his advantage to rob and plunder all whom he may come in contact with in order to purchase his way into what they call modern society, that is his business. But the Negro must not rob and plunder the widow and the orphan or his fellow men, or resort to any unscrupulous methods for the sake of acquiring wealth. So do not fuck over your fellow man to get a buck. Okay? Do not fuck over your fellow man to get rich. Got it. Fourth, whenever any Negro, and I haven't read this before, this is my first time reading this. Fourth, whenever any Negro happens to come into contact with a white lady and gentleman, he must raise or remove his hat and must endeavor to be as polite as a French dancing master. He must instruct his wife and his children to be very civil and respectful to all members of the white race with whom they have the pleasure of meeting. Then, if the proud blue-eyed Saxon wishes to pose as being the most polished and politest person in the world, he will be compelled to prove it by his actions and not by empty words. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, just common courtesy or whatnot. And I get that. When was this written? I'm pretty sure this is the early 20th century. So they're being real specific about this for, every very specific reason. And that's to quell race relations and bad race relations. And so, again, holding black Americans accountable and stuff like that. I'm a little bit more 21st century with it, so you already know. Motherfucker disrespect me is up. You feel me? But I get what they're saying. He's basically saying, like, yo, this is just a good faith argument. That's all it is. It's just a good faith argument that, yo, you show yourself respectful, they're going to be compelled to show themselves respectful. But we just know historically that that's not always the truth, and I'm not going to deny that just because I agree with some of the points here. I'm just looking to see if anybody commented. Okay, fifth, every self-respecting and liberty-loving Negro must retain enough money out of his earnings to purchase a double-barrel self-acting shotgun, and when he is finished or completed the work he is engaged in performing during the day, he must not frequent questionable resorts, but he must repair to his home or to his little log cabin, and after he has enjoyed his evening repast, he must spend the remainder of his spare time in endeavoring to improve his mental and intellectual faculties. Then, if a crowd of high-toned and highly civilized Christian gentlemen approach his cabin or his home during the dark hours of the night for the purpose or with the intention of committing an outrage upon his person or upon any member of his family, he must defend himself and his family, even at the risk of losing his own life. There we go. I was a little wary, man, but I see what he's doing. Now I can breathe a little bit, because he was hitting me with like, yo, be very nice, But now number 6 was right after that. I like number 6. No, number 5, excuse me. I like number 5. Number 4 had me like, but number 5, he brought me right back. Okay? Shout out to DW. He brought me right back. Make sure that you get, let's read that one again. Make sure you get a gun. Okay? There we go. What did he say? Every self-respecting and liberty-loving Negro must retain enough money out of his earnings to purchase a double-barreled self-acting shotgun. That's what I'm talking about. And after you get off of work, nigga, make sure that you building upon your crib, making sure that you renovating your crib, you feel me, and making sure that whatever repairs need to be done, renovations need to be done, that you're doing it. Okay, and then once you finish doing that, so boom, this number 5 is really loaded, no pun intended. So number 5 tells you, get you a shotgun, go to work. After you get off of work, work on your crib, and then after you finish working on your crib, work on your brain, work on your mind. Yeah, for sure. I'm rocking with number 5. Number 5 is my favorite so far. Oh, excuse me. And then if some of these high-toned and high-civilized Christian gentlemen, I like that. I like the sarcasm there. I'm digging the sarcasm. When some high-civilized Christian gentlemen approach your crib to try to fuck, you over, send them to hell. You already know. Yeah, I like number 5. Let's see what number 6 says. 6, we do not wish to convey the idea that we desire to have the Negro use his double-barrel self-acting shotgun or the slightest on the slightest provocation. We only want him to use it when anyone attempts to interfere with the rights which are guaranteed by him by the Constitution of the United States. Now, when I be saying that shit in 2025, y'all be looking at me like I got 10 heads, but this is what the ancestors were saying. Any of these motherfuckers who try to violate your human rights under the Constitution of the United States, you have 100% the capability, ability, and right to defend yourself, for sure. And if he will only adhere to the advice which we have endeavored to give him, we believe it will greatly redound to his benefit and advantage, and we cannot refrain from arriving at the conclusion that the great majority of the American people will be more than willing to accord to the Negro all of the rights and privileges which naturally belong to him if he will only respect and obey the laws. If our earnest desire to assist in helping to educate the Negro up to a point that he will have respect unto the laws of our fair land and to refrain from committing all crimes, not with the fear of being plunged headlong into an everlasting hell. They look, the censorship back then, they didn't even want to say hell in the paper. They didn't even want to say hell in the paper. But headlong into an everlasting hell, nor with the expectation of occupying a front seat in heaven, for we do not believe in either place. What does that mean? But the Negro must refrain from injuring his fellow men because it is unconducive to the best interests of the entire human race. So yeah. And then this one, I didn't read this one either. Let's zoom on in here. Okay. Over here. This was written by Dr. Bird. This gentleman right here. Reverend William A. Bird. Let's see what he has to say. Demand and will have certain fundamental things, says Dr. Bird. Our duty as citizens must measure arms with all others, pay the price, and rely upon ourselves, self and race respect and independence. Have a feeling that I know what he's going to be talking about. Let me check the chats. Got to make sure I'm on top of the chats. All right. Hold on. Got to double check that one too. Yo, I'm enjoying this, man. I think this is good bars right here. Here we go. Let's see what Dr. Bird has to say. The place of the Negro in American life and government is a much discussed subject. There should be a thorough understanding as to the place others assign the Negro and the place he assigns himself. The assigning of any group of Americans a particular place is contrary to the spirit which founded this country. It is a fact, nevertheless, that because the Negro was brought to this country as a slave and remained so for 2.5 centuries, many American people continue to try to keep him, if not a physical slave, a social and political slave. Strange indeed is the psychology of certain Americans who demand absolute freedom for themselves and theirs, and yet strenuously deny the Negro that same privilege and right. Certain states of the Union have legalized the withdrawal from the Negro and the American rights which all other races enjoy. In doing this, these people have assigned the Negro in their midst a place which is inferior to that they assume for themselves. There are certain fundamental things every real American demands and will have. First, untrammeled freedom with civil, political, and social liberty. Second, the right to say who shall be and to participate in the elections of his rulers. Third, to expect and demand protection of his flag at home and abroad in the enjoyment of his life, property, and rights. He also accepts it as his duty to protect his flag in the honor of his country with his life's blood. Since all Americans demand the things I have named, the Negro is unworthy and unprepared to be an American citizen if he's willingly accepts less. Bars. Where we at? So, despite the forces arrayed against him, the Negro must never acquiesce in this infringement upon his citizenship. Talk to him, Bird. Talk to him, Bird. That's what I be saying to him. I be saying the same shit, Bird. All right. His place then is not what others fix, but that he fixes for himself. Come on, to obtain it, he must not tolerate in himself any species of a racial inferiority complex. Come on. Come on now, Dr. Bird. Reverend Bird, that's what I've been telling him. To obtain it, he must not tolerate in himself any species of a racial inferiority complex. Any zilch. None of that. Don't walk around thinking that you inferior. Don't do that. That's antithetical to the ancestors. I'm trying to tell you. When was this written? Hold on. We'll get back to it. When was this written? 1929. Come on. A little under 100 years ago. Come on. This is what the ancestors was trying to tell you. Here we go. First, he and his children must believe in themselves, in their capabilities and ability to measure arms with all Americans, if given equal opportunity and a square deal. Second, he must be as willing as the other races to pay the price, however high. Third, his chief reliance must be upon himself. In his effort to rise, he must know that self-respect and independence are the main factors. In seeking the things of life, he must seek the best. Fourth, industrially, he must be a capable and trustworthy employee. In his search for employment, let him rise above the mental and servile, and let him reach out for the preferred places. Our men are capable of filling more than porter jobs. Okay? And when he gets employment, let him make himself indispensable. Fifth, the place of the Negro in this country is the same as that of any other American citizen. He must not cry and whine for others to give it to him, but he must fight for it. 1929. He must not cry and whine. He must not cry and whine, but he for others to give it to him, but he must fight for it. Never stop until he gets it. Americans have always fought for what they wanted. Americans died courageously for their place in the world. Afro-Americans must do likewise if they would have the respect of the world. 6. To maintain this place of equality with the best Americans, the Negro must equip himself educationally and economically. No ignorant people can maintain no ignorant people can maintain a position of equality with an educated people. Let him strive to possess that which the world wants and must have, and the world will be his patron. Come on, man. Come on, son. This is good. Yo, son, this is good info. This is good info. Aesthetically, the Negro must seek beauty in personal form, eradicate the effects of the ravages of slavery upon his ancestors, and keep his surroundings beautiful. His home should be on par with that of his best neighbor. He must observe the laws of health, keep his body sweet and clean, put much water inside of him, as well as be a frequenter of the baths and showers. Having done the things that entitle him to equality of treatment in every sphere of a citizen's life, let him fight until he forces the unwilling Americans to accord him what is his right, what is his by right. You hear me? Bars, fam, bars. I don't care what you say. This is the reason why I exalt the ancestors the way I do. This is the reason why I shout the ancestors out the way I do. They are damn near, they don't miss. They don't miss. Sorry to tell you, happy to tell you rather. Happy to tell you, they do not miss. Nothing that this man said was incorrect, and he wrote this in 1929. All of it still applies to Black Americans in 2025. And y'all, some of y'all still wonder why I study the ancestors the way I do. This is very clear why. This is very clear why. Like, the ancestors understood, fam. They understood. They knew exactly what we needed. Again, this stuff is not hard to figure out, yo. This is all just the studying of people. And once you understand humans and once you understand people, yo, you're able to navigate this shit. They lived the lives that they lived. This man is a reverend and a doctor. in 1929. So it ain't something it's no different. It's no different. Wait, did I not? Yeah, I finished it. Yeah. It's no different than when you ask somebody who's successful today. They're going to tell you the same things. You see, he acknowledged the problem. He did not sit here and say that white people are all loving and they like you. And no, you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to get up every day with intention to make it happen, fam. That's the truth. There's no other way. All of these prescriptions, all of these suggestions, requirements, standards wasn't about respectability politics, nigga. It was about getting to the next level. It was about actually succeeding. It was about getting to it. Everything that he prescribed for us to do, fam, like, would still apply to this very day. It would still apply to this very day. And that's the reason why, yo. Study the ancestors. You'll be able to find out where you're going tomorrow. Look at yesterday and you'll see exactly where you're going tomorrow. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. They'll tell you, yo. The ancestors will tell you. They wrote this stuff down for a reason. And these articles specifically, this was all about prescriptions. These were all things that, yo, as Black Americans, this is what we need to be getting into. Reaching back. Reaching back. We talk about how, you know, the wealthy class of today, the boule, the bourgeois, you know, all of them, right? How they don't help lower class Black Americans and all of that. That's not necessarily true for the ancestors. You'll have some. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the boule was created in what, 1904? So don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, they're going to be there. You feel me? But one thing I will say, especially with like public, because most of the boule were like notable men, Black men, right? Those notable Black men never said anything contrary to what he just said. I wouldn't even be surprised if Reverend Burr was a part of the boule. So when it comes down to this, like, I understand that the boule, especially in the 21st century context, has been pretty much reduced to like this Illuminati-esque group that is, you know, consorting with each other to keep Black Americans in their place and never be able to grow and all that other stuff. But like historically, what you'll see a lot of those fraternal orders and stuff like that would do, they would talk like this because they understood power. They understood power. So yeah, you're going to have some sellouts. You're going to have some people who are willing to, you know, throw Black Americans under the bus. You feel me? Based upon, you know, whatever they, their own personal, you know, achievements are. But you saw in the last article, do not do that. That's what they said. So again, these types of prescriptions, you're not seeing any detriment happening as a result of this. You know what I'm saying? So again, I just believe that the further and further we got away from this doctrine, the more we started to see the decline in the morals, like I said, that ethos, that Black American ethos. The further and further we got away from this, and it's like, it's not like the ancestors didn't see this coming. The ancestors said, yo, you have to fight against all of those things. Whatever the government is trying to throw at you, whatever racist people are trying to throw at you, get you a shotgun, okay, to protect your body, and also hold your government accountable. By way of the Constitution, hold them accountable. They understood. It was not sunshine and rainbows in their mind. It wasn't peaches and cream. They weren't walking around thinking that everything was going to be just sweet just off of the strength of them becoming a doctor. But no. Actually, the complete opposite. I had to go through hell to get where I am right now. And that's the reason why I'm able to come back and tell y'all exactly what I did. Keep doing this and we'll be able to see progress despite whatever opposition that we come across. You got one of the articles telling you to stay away from cheap whiskey and gambling. Somebody told you to do that. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, yeah, you down on your luck, you poor, you in the slums or you in the ghetto, you know, wherever you at. If you keep these morals and values and keep these ethics, you will succeed. Yeah, I know it's hard, but life was never meant to be easy. You can't run away from life just because it's hard. Yeah, it's going to be things that happen in your life that you're going to have to work really, really hard at to succeed at it. That's just what it is. But if you actually want to succeed, you will. So, if you want to succeed, here are some step by steps, some bullet points that I'm here, some gems that I want to give, to be able to let you know, hey, you can do it. I did it. You can do it too. Because if I look up, let's see. What was it? A Bird? No, what was son's name? Yeah, William A. Bird. Hold on. Let me look him up. Doctor. Damn. I don't. Nothing is even coming up for him. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Nothing is coming up. Nope. Nope. You can't even Google this man. Y'all try to Google him right now. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. It's another black man that didn't make it to the 21st century, even though he was talking some fire shit. What we said, this was 1929, right? Yeah. 1929. And he didn't make it. He didn't make it. You feel me? But I'm more than sure he was notable in his time because there's a photograph in him, of him in a newspaper. That just doesn't happen to some regular degular person. And so, what does it say? U.S. refunds $121,000 to Mrs. Sarah Rector Campbell, part Afro and part Creek Indian, richest colored girl. They had took her money? Hold on, we found something subsequent. Hold on. One of the Uncle Sam's biggest checks for $121,820. Okay, is it 820 or 280? A refund from the U.S. Treasury Department on her income tax account was received here week before last by Mrs. Sarah Rector Campbell. It was an adjustment of a protested assessment. Mrs. Campbell, who several years ago inherited a rich tract of Oklahoma oil land and who was known in her younger days as the richest colored girl in America, has protested an assessment on a $300,000 bonus paid to her by the Prairie Gas and Oil Company for her renewal of a 5-year lease on her oil holdings. The protest was made on the ground that no account of the natural depletion of the wells on the property had been taken by the government. The amount returned represents a refund on tax collected since 1918. Mrs. Campbell and her address. She's married a Kansas City Afro-American lad, a student at Lincoln University, and brought him here before he had completed his freshman year. Yeah, I know about Sarah Rector. So, damn, the government taxed her too much and she had to get the bread back. Got it. Oh, we do have that. I do have that on the list as well. Black American oil barons. Yeah. Black Americans who struck oil. And then we got this one. This one I read over a little bit. I didn't read the whole thing. This one was a little bit, I don't know. But we're going to see. Negro Beast Progressive. The election in Clark County passed off quietly, a good vote being polled in the Fourth Ward HD Coleraine, a colored Republican, was elected to city council. He defeated a progressive. Well, shout out to him. So what we got here? Some ways of life are so simple. There was, for instance, a few years ago, a solution of the Negro problem so ridiculously simple that those who did not receive it as gospel were hooted, if not stoned. The gist was this: the Negro must work out his own salvation. The Negro must make himself useful to his neighbors. The Negro must not complain. Duties be taught. Negroes never mind their rights. Negroes Negroes must let politics alone. Money talks. Let the Negro get a $5,000 brick house, and his individual problem is solved, etc., etc. This the Negro has done. He has striven to solve his problems unaided. He is so useful to his neighbors that the problem of tomorrow will be we be the Southern millionaire wax fat on the starvation wages of the black peons. The mass of Negroes has been so ground down and oppressed that they do not know what complaint is. If they did, segregation, Jim Crow car, and disenfranchisement would disappear tomorrow. We have, quote, let politics alone so effectually that we practically have no voice in our government, and we have accumulated brick houses so fast that from Boston to Galveston, white nerves are being strained to drive us out of them. We are therefore listening to those eminent and distinguished solvers of the Negro problem, white and black, who, with hat in hand, have in the last 20 years been lulling this nation to sleep and also feathering their own nests. We are listening further. We're listening to further advice and direction along the simple way. Oh, so this one was saying, oh, nigga, basically like the age old argument of pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and other motherfuckers being like, yeah, we did all of that and we still, fucked over. Now, obviously, this part was basically him calling out what the prescriptions were. Some of those, obviously, I agree with. You feel me? Obviously, the one saying that never mind their rights, and then of course Negroes must let politics alone. Obviously, I disagree with that. And he sarcastically said, focusing on money, basically, that your money will be solved and it's not, and shit like that. So I get that. I understand that there are going to be other issues than that, and I definitely believe Black Americans should be in politics. But I'm not going to sit here and say that the other advice, like working out your own salvation, make himself useful to his neighbors, and not complaining. I think complaining and being able to state a grievance is two different things, especially if you're going to do something about it. I would relegate complaining to just being, fruitless and actually putting a solution out there. But, making your grievances known and doing something about that shit, then no, that's not complaining to me. You dig? So, what else we got? Let's go back to the Twitter. Oh, it's already 8. All right, so it's 9:28. It's already 9:28. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I think I timed that pretty good. So yeah, that was us going through the archives. This is a lot of what we do on the Patreon. We're about to head over to the Patreon in just a minute. So you definitely want to make sure you get your subscription on right now. Patreon.com/Hotep History. Patreon.com/Hotep History. Come on through. We're going to be diving deep into the Black American film industry historically. We're going to be watching some Black American films. So if you're definitely interested in that, you definitely want to come on through. You know what? I was actually thinking about doing movie nights on Patreon. I was thinking about doing that. How would y'all, feel about that? Would y'all like movie nights? I was thinking about doing like historical, movies and stuff like that. And things that take place before our day. So yeah, it's gonna be. I was thinking about doing Dead Presidents, because Dead Presidents takes place around the time of the Vietnam War. There was a few others that I wanted to do. I can't think of them right now, but a whole bunch of historical movies that take place, well, it's centered around black people. We're not going to do Sinners for a while, so if you're thinking about we about to watch Sinners, that ain't what it is. But we definitely going to be watching some period piece movies that center around Black America, and we'll be able to, have a conversation about it. Especially if it's based on true events, we'll be able to look up stuff while we're watching. I was thinking about our super dope just movie night. So I wanted to know how you guys felt about that, because I'm super down. I'm super down to do it. So if you guys are down to do it, we can make it happen. But that'll do it for tonight, y'all. If you are interested in continuing the conversation and, learning about Black American filmmakers, come on through. But yeah, thank you guys for coming on out. Shout out to everybody that tapped in. This is what I do here, man. We do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. till 9:30, and then we take the party on over to Patreon for the rest of the night. And we be rocking pretty late too. We be rocking pretty late. We be going some hours. So if you definitely want to continue the conversation, come on over to patreon.com. If not, just make sure you're subscribing to Kick, YouTube. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on TikTok. We got some clips out today, so go ahead and check that out. And I will see you guys on the next one. But as always, you can't have the future without the present, and you cannot have the present without the past. And we don't study history to live in the past, but to order our steps in the present so we can positively affect the future. Thank you guys again for coming through. I'll see you guys on Friday. We'll be talking, well, the Patreon subscribers got to vote on it, but we're going to be talking something. So make sure y'all come on through. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, Hotep and Bill.